G'day. Just before we get into this this special chat with Pat Cummins, Pez, I just want to say a thanks to some people.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually just finished the chat. We're just putting this together after having spoken to Pat. And the abiding thought from us really is that it's really special to have the opportunity to sit down with the men's test captain of Australia, one of the world's greatest ever players. And for us, really the feeling is of thanks to the audience, to people who followed TGC over the years to bring us to a place where we can do things like this. It was Pat Cummins in person, in the flesh, eyes and all. And it just wouldn't be possible without people who've really supported us over the years. It's a special privilege to be able to speak in person with Pat. You'll hear us say that the chat with him was no commercial tie-up. It was literally a question to him directly that he said yes to. He's jumped in an Uber from training and come and sat down with us. We've talked about a whole host of things that we hope people find, compelling. And if I could be earnest for a second, none of it's possible without our audience. And we can't wait to not only bring you this chat, but also deliver this summer for everybody and bring, interesting, funny cricket narrative to people who like the game.
So if you want to support the show, easiest way right now, if you're watching on YouTube, is to click subscribe. But there are many other ways of Patreon and all these sorts of places. But just want to give a special shout out to our live dates coming up for the Australian tour. We are starting in Adelaide at the Gov with special guest Greg Blewett, Thursday, 28th November. All these tickets at greycricketer.com, by the way. Then we go to Perth, Astor Theatre with special guest Marcus Stoinis, Ashton Agar. That's on the 4th of December. Then we are with Matthew Hayden in Brisbane at the Tivoli Theatre, 18th December. greycricketer.com for all these tickets, by the way. Tickets are going real quick. Enmore Theatre, Sydney, 2nd of January. Special guest Ricky Ponting. That is running hot. Now, we've already sold out our Melbourne show with special guest Aaron Finch. That's on the 8th of Jan. Tickets no longer available for that. But if you are watching on Thursday night or Friday, tickets are available Friday. What's the date? It's the 24th. So 25th, Friday, noon. Live show tickets for the second Melbourne show with another special guest. It won't be Aaron. A different special guest is going live noon on Friday. greycricketer.com for all those tickets. And again, thank you for the support. And should we just get into it, Pezza?
Let's go.
Okay, here he is. Here's the great man.
Okay, well, from time to time, TGC receives special opportunities where we get the chance to sit down with people of significance. This is one such opportunity. It's a real privilege for us to welcome a man not in any media rights guise. This isn't through TV. This isn't through... like a commercial obligation. This isn't a Cricket Australia lanyard saying he has to do this with a polo shirt on and he wants to be anywhere else but here. He's just here in the flesh. In fact, called this morning and said, look, I just want to clear a few things up on Australian selection, so can I come in?
He was just walking past.
He was walking past. I said, we fit him in. Now, a man whose leadership resolve has played a huge role in improving his team's results and critically, I'd argue, its reputation. We admire him deeply for it, but by the same token, Pat Cummins improving the conduct of the Australian cricket team has actually kind of damaged this business. The grade cricketer, which basically has commercially thrived off the errors and the poor conduct of Australian cricketers at every level.
Yes.
So kind of looking forward to the retirement, if I'm honest, and the old boys taking over again. But before then, we welcome arguably the best bowler in the world, already one of the world's greatest all-time cricketers, the current Australian men's cricket captain, Pat Cummins, or Cummins. Paddy, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me in, banging on the front door there for a couple of hours. Finally, you relented, so thanks you.
Welcome to TGC Towers as well, Paddy. Always nice when a couple of guys who've done well out of Sydney grade cricket can gather and just exchange stories.
Spot on.
Yeah.
No, geez, if I had $1 for every grade story I had, wow, I'd have a couple. This is a good coffee.
This is actually like the ads where like you guys are just wearing your kit in the kitchen or whatever doing something because you've actually just lobbed up in New South Wales training kit or playing kit. Did you play today?
Today was training.
Okay.
And yeah, this is probably how much importance I'm putting this podcast in today. I was going to go home and get dressed, but I just thought I'd rock up in this.
Cheers.
I was early.
You were early.
I didn't shower.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right, well, let's just get into selections. That's why everyone's here. So I presume you haven't come here just to name the side to put all the hype to bed.
What's the batting order?
Yeah.
If I knew, I probably still wouldn't tell you, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
How do you view the conjecture about selections? Like, is it irritating to you? You must read a bunch of people saying stuff. You're like, that's wrong. That's right. I wish my teammates would make it more difficult. Do you just see it as you like that? Okay.
That is funny.
Or do you take a broader view that this is, part of the necessary way of hyping up the summer? This is actually entertainment. Also, I'm sort of hearing McSweeney, like the birds are chirping McSweeney. I've got some mail on that, by the way, so I don't know what you're hearing.
Yeah. I think it's all of that. It's like every year this time there's, like I saw in the papers today, bowling rotation. So that always comes up this time of year.
Yeah.
For a while it used to be 4 quicks at the Gabba or Gaz. I reckon he's just gone past that in the last couple of years.
Nice.
And it's always there's like one batting spot. And it happens every year. So even like a few months ago when people started talking batting order, I just gave it absolutely zero time because you're just like, things change. We know we're going to be having the conversation a couple of weeks out. And then unfortunately Greeny gets injured and just...
Well, sort of fortunately in one sense, but obviously not on his back. But it sort of did.
Yeah. So I don't really know what to make. I just sit back and watch. Like I know it's essentially, the selectors plus my kind of input decision. But it's like there's still stuff to go, water to go under the bridge, etc. I just love seeing it all play out. Like almost like as a observer who I know, like that date's not, it's a month away. It's not going to get here any sooner. We got time, but everyone just wants to know right now. And yeah, I don't know. Like I think I said it the other day, Trav Head and Mitch Marsh, I'd wake up in the papers was, Trav Head's firming his favourite to open the batting. And I'm like, that's the first time I've ever heard of that. It's just hilarious.
Obviously, our close personal friend Dave Warner's back out there now. He's offered, a solution to a problem that exists. There's a camera just there. Do you want to send a message to Dave, offering his hand?
Yep, Dave, we're very interested. We're taking it very seriously and we'll be in touch, mate.
Just watch that phone.
Exactly, watch it. Absolutely. I did speak to Dave a couple of days ago.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I can't remember, he reached out or I did. It's like, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, good luck with Thunder this year. And I look forward to your comments on Fox. So, yeah.
He's legit, so he's legitimately texted you and gone, what do we think? Because everyone's like, oh, he loves to wind up. Davey's being Davey, but he's actually asked you the question.
Yeah.
It's somewhere, I reckon the truth's somewhere in the middle there. I reckon it is a bit of a wind up, but I don't reckon he doesn't mind seeing himself in the back page when he's spoken about a potential and he starts believing it. But we love Davey, but he's retired. Sorry,
I like it that he referred to Andrew McDonald as Torch. That was new to me.
Yeah, Torch is new lingo.
Torch,
okay. No, I reckon that's old.
Yeah,
it's
right.
old.
Old
Okay,
school, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
It is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Ronnie's one of the great nicknames. I don't reckon it gets enough attention.
I mean, just the voice is incredible. It's Barry White, it's Barry Manilow, it's all sorts of Barrys. It's just tremendous.
Yeah. The greatest thing is when he's trying to have a serious private conversation. You can hear him from 50 metres away.
And you must have been enjoying your own teammates weighing into the conversation in public as well. I've learnt that it actually matters who comes after you when you bat as well, because that somehow impacts how you play. People need security when they bat. Is that an international cricket thing that people actually bat with security? And
who's coming in next?
I thought the guy who was batting for it was offering security. I mean, 170 in a game, but it's not the right kind of security. And
yeah, I think a few nightclub bouncers' ears perked up when they heard that security had a premium on. They were looking for a middle order batting spot. Frankie, our security manager, he's started batting in the nets the last couple of weeks after hearing that. No, not something we speak about too much. But yeah, everyone's always got plenty of ideas, and we like hearing some of them.
Well, we want to, like, you know, we do really admire you as a leader. I think you've done some really interesting things in terms of Australian cricket culture. And I think one thing that most people understand is a value of yours is like empowering people and people living their own lives. And, you know, you guys have that phrase, you do you. But like, there's a couple of players now who are like, they really are doing themselves, you know, like you're just saying like, oh, news to me that Travis Head's opening the batting, but Uzi's out there going like, oh yeah, probably Heady for me, to be honest. And and you're like, hang on. Like,
you got to be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Like cricket teams are political though, aren't they? You know, guys are older. And like how does, do you feel like as a skipper you have to kind of put a lid on this? Like, is there a message on the WhatsApp going, boys, any danger? Like, you have a unified front here, or you just let the guys go?
I think for the most time you let the guys go. I think that's worked really well for us. You know, particularly around who they are in outside of cricket. Like, you want everyone to just be themselves, and hopefully they can bring that to cricket. Obviously, the art then is once you're part of the team, or buying into the team and what you're trying to do, and you know, I think we've done that really well. So hopefully that continues. But I mean, our team at the moment is great fun. You got all different kind of personalities. Everyone gets along. You know, there's some teams when you go off and play golf, you're desperately looking at who the golf group is, so you're not stuck with one or two. But genuinely, you'd be happy to play with any of the teammates at the moment. So, no, it's all cool.
Just like with Steve Smith, who, like, obviously in 2019 in that Ashes series, like he touched God. Like, it was just some of the best batting anyone's ever seen. And then basically since then, like, we just keep hearing about all the things needed to require like his magnificence again. You know, like he's found his hands. You know, wants to open, wants to bat four. I didn't say that. Yes, I did. No, he said that. You know, like
Bailey said this. I actually asked. I didn't know.
I don't care. Just bat for me. Yeah. Just bat for the nation, please. You know, fair to say, it might be a bit high maintenance. You know, but like as a captain, you know, how do you get the best out of Steve Smith? Because like he's just such an important player for the team.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, he's a genius when it comes to batting. So it's funny, you know, all these quirks that pop up, they've been there for a decade when he's scoring runs, when he's, you know, having a run where he's maybe missed out a few times. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to... He really does take the responsibility himself. Mm-hmm. You know, he's his own best coach and he'll put in all the hours and stuff. So... long-winded way of saying I don't know, but he certainly puts in the hours, and I don't know, he's just one of those guys. Even if he's out of form, you know the other team is spending more time on him than anyone else. And when you bowl to him in the nets, he's just a different class. Like, he's got more time. It's just I get more surprised if he misses out than if he scores runs. He's that good.
Like, as a captain, is he just a guy you just let him go? Like, there's not really much to talk about with him. He's just let him go.
100%. Yeah. It's like, I'm here if you want to talk about anything, batting, but what am I going to, I'm not going to add much value. So, kind of, you just let him go.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed how many of the comments that like the top order have made in public, like Uzi and Marnus and Steve, they've all been like premised on the idea that it's in the best interests of the team. But like anyone who's played cricket knows that like batters just look after themselves. But there's like that like coexists, right? Like sometimes self-interest is actually what's best for the team. And so as a skipper, you know, you've got to sort of somehow find that balance between like, well, when they're being selfish, it's kind of good. It's good. You know what I mean? They're trying to actually organise things for themselves, but sometimes it doesn't gel properly.
Spot on. It's a funny sport like that. In that way, but yeah, Ronnie and I, every decision we ever make is always, how do we think the team's going to function best? And that doesn't necessarily mean someone who's, you know, Uzi a few years ago, we batted him at 5, and then the next test he batted at opener, and now he's an opener. We thought that was the best kind of thing for the team. He might not have thought it was best for him, but you know, in the end, it works out. So. I don't know, we're always just looking through that lens. Obviously, everyone else is a bit different. Some batters want their own spot. Some bowlers want the new ball, whatever it is. So, yeah, it's about trying to jumble all that together.
Originally, like when you took on the captain's armband, you know, for Australia, it was sort of going to be for a couple of years or until you didn't want it anymore. And like recently you've said like, no, I'll just keep doing it. Now, is that because you've seen Marnus set a straight hit for himself in the Shield when he was bowling mediums? Have you thought, I'm not playing under that?
To be fair, if Marnus captain, I'd probably have to bowl less because he's bowling from one end. So what, me and Gaz are sharing, down the other end. Not entirely, no. I think when did I start? 21 Ashes? Yeah, so 3 years I've been doing it now. Yeah, I feel still pretty fresh. I've just had a bit of a break for a couple of months as well. So, we've probably had more success than I thought we were going to have. And it's been a great bunch, been pretty chilled. So I feel like I've got a bit more bandwidth than I probably thought I would at this stage.
Has your life changed a lot since becoming captain?
Yeah, I became captain basically the same time as I became a dad, and I feel like both things have just kind of ramped everything up to 10.
Yeah.
You have presided over a period of stability in the Australian men's team that probably hasn't been seen since the old boys, the golden generation. I don't know if you feel like this is kind of scurrilous press stuff, but it feels like the winds of change are blowing in the team a little bit, if for no other reason than just people are getting older. You're going to hear that phrase closer to the end than the beginning 1,000 times, annoyingly. Yep. Do you feel like as a leader you're potentially entering a new phase of managing the team, as guys come towards the end? Because, you speak so well about how much fun the team is and how close the team is. You guys have done so much together, but time catches up with everybody. People are going to be making plans. Is it a, is that a new? Do you feel like the team's entering that new phase, or do you feel like with this summer and next, you're still in this great period of winning things and just being a great team together?
I think it's definitely not going to be on. We're definitely not going to be together forever.
That would be a hell of a story.
That would be unbelievable.
Yeah. It really would be a closed shop as well. As people say,
it really would be. And you guys wouldn't have much.
No, it's content capture day would be tough. Hey, you become a granddad.
Gaz is on 1,700 test wickets.
Gaz would still be playing if he could. Look, I think when there's a group that gets really old, people start wanting, they almost get bored. It's like, hey, what's next? Even, punters last few years, everyone's like, no, time to move on. Let's
get Alex Doolan in.
It's like, I think it's okay to chill for a bit. If everything's going well, you don't have to change things prematurely. So hopefully not. Hopefully still got a couple more years, but no doubt, some of the guys like Uzi and Smudge and, most of the team kind of pushing mid-30s. Traditionally, no one really goes to 40. So you'd think it's in the next few years. So I think, we might need to change a little bit. The way Ronnie and I operate at the moment, it's very chilled. Let everyone kind of do their own thing. Maybe you've got to be a bit more prescriptive when there's a few young guys. But I think in the last couple of years, the way, say, the ODIs and T20 teams have kind of worked, we've got a lot of guys who've had a bit of Aussie exposure, even if it's not Test cricket. Obviously got some Aussie A's coming up. So we feel like, although there hasn't been a big group that have played Test cricket, there's probably another dozen or so younger guys in their 20s or even younger who have had some exposure and feel like they could, they're ready to jump up if they're needed.
Do you feel a responsibility more broadly, to Australian cricket to help transition the team, or do you feel like your responsibility is more about being the captain of this current team and getting the best out of this group?
It's a little bit of both, but it's mainly trying to win games in the now, really. I think if you get caught up thinking about the future, it's not really how professional sport works. You can't just say, we're going to take the next Indian and Ashes series to chill out and build up for 3 years. It's I expect every time Aussie team walks out there that we're going to think that we should win, or think we should have a strong enough side to win. So, I think Aussie A, I think domestic cricket, I think some white ball opportunities, that's a really good path. There's so much cricket nowadays. So I don't think you need to be too quick in kind of trying to find a spot for a young guy just because they're young.
I reckon, like, of any cricketer that I hear speak, you have such a actually some of the England guys, as much as they beat their chest about it, like, you have such a great perspective on what cricket is in your life, you know, because to the public, you are cricketers and you do that forever. But your generation of players is the first generation that have just been completely wiped out with the amount of cricket going on all around the world, all the travel, etc., etc. But you seem to have like a great perspective of what cricket is in your life. I'm talking about you specifically now, like cricket in your life, as opposed to this is my entire identity. Is that a thing you think about, or do you have to ground yourself in that?
Yeah, no, I think about it a little bit. Like if you just do the pure numbers, you know, if say even I play till I'm 35, well, hopefully I'm alive a lot longer than that. And,
yeah.
You know, I've seen some ex-players who try and spend the rest of their life reliving kind of the glory days. Mm-hmm. I don't really want to do that.
That's what we do, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Spot on. I say that here, I probably will, but but you know, like cricket's fun. But I think all our boys are pretty similar as well. Like we're all really good mates, whether we're playing cricket or not. So I think you don't get caught up in it. Yeah. If you do, you know, Joshy Hazelwood or someone knocks you back pretty quickly. Trav Head sends you a photo pretty quickly of, you know, something. So, it's something I think about quite a lot as well. You know, I debuted in 2011, so I think this is like my 14th or 15th season. You can't just kind of put on your life on hold for 15 years, or you know, say I want to play for another 5 years. Can't go, these 20 years of my life, I'm going to do nothing else other than cricket. Mm-hmm. For me, that's a bit of a waste. So try and find some semblance of balance where I can.
I think you've, I know you wouldn't give yourself a curtain call for this, but like for guys who played grade cricket and grown up in the, you know, the like the harsh, brutal realities of like the macho culture of Australian cricket, you've led like a bit of a quiet revolution around how you know, you play. You know, like you don't sledge. You're an Aussie quick from the mountains. You came into the team bowling 150s, raw boned. You know, like a young pup among older grizzled veterans, and like you don't sledge. You don't use verbal hostility. You're now like the captain of the side, unprecedented success this century, and and the team follows suit. You have the respect of the team, and you talk about cricket being fun, a game. It's a huge contrast to like what we grew up with, and probably what you would have seen. You know, like what did you observe about Australian cricket culture as a youngster at any level? You know, that like when you became captain, you were like, let's shift this.
Yeah. I think it's, again, probably doing the same thing, you know, playing professional cricket for, say, 15 years. Like, you probably spend the first, I don't know, say 4 or 5 years kind of just taking a back seat going, this is how things are run. This is how everything goes. I'd say like middle of my career was a little bit more like, okay, maybe I'll do that a little bit different if I was, you know, ever in a position. And then I think now that we're all kind of been doing it for a fair while, we're all good mates, we've all got families, it's like, you know, you got to find the fun in it. If we're going to spend 10 months of the year away, I don't know, these things don't cancel each, you know, they don't, you know, you can do both things at once. You can have fun, but you can also be successful and play with freedom, all this kind of stuff. So I don't know, like I always look back to particularly grade cricket. I think it was probably 2 or 3 years where I played full grade seasons for Penrith. And I used to get so excited on Friday night, and it was never about the actual playing. Like, if we won the toss...
What were you getting excited about?
Yeah. It was always just like the stories and the banter and stuff. So like, if we bowled, I'd be like, I've got to go and, you know, stand in the field all day. Yeah, whereas if we batted, it's like, you beauty, like I can't wait to hear Gabbo's stories or something, you know, like that's right. In the change room. So I don't know, just trying to not lose sight of those reasons why I started playing. And I never felt like being relaxed and bantering and having fun was ever to the detriment of a game. Like I rarely have I ever seen someone relaxed and that being a worse mindset than someone who's uptight and overthinking it. So I think it helps as well as it's just way more fun.
At the same time, do you think that we'd be better prepared for series in India if India had better golf courses? Because I noticed the boys went over to Scotland 2 weeks early for a white ball series against Scotland.
Yeah.
Just a prep.
Yeah. Have we ever gone to India 2 weeks before to prep?
It is a good question. I'm just trying to do the numbers. We won in Pune a couple of years ago. That's got a nice golf course.
Okay. Yeah.
That's right. But indoor.
Bangalore's a couple of good golf courses. We haven't had. Ahmedabad, where we won the final. It's got an amazing golf course.
Okay, well,
now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
Right.
There's actually something in that.
Direct
You're
correlation,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we haven't done the 2 weeks prep, as you said. We sometimes manage to find a week in Dubai or something.
Yeah.
To find some spinning wickets.
Yeah. But it's like, because England are doing the same thing, right? I mean, it must just be a force factor of the amount of cricket you play that like you can't live in the intensity of professional sport 24/7, touring all over the world. Like, I mean, golf is funny because you're playing another sport when you are professional athletes in a different field. But like but golf is just actually just guys just enjoying their time away, isn't it? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's, it's not like I don't think it's ever hindering cricket. Like, everyone still trains very hard and.
Well, Josh Inglis got knocked out of the World Cup for snapping a club in his hand.
That is a good point.
But Greeny got in, so
right.
That was Green.
That was Greeny got in somehow, yeah. So,
that is a good point. Okay, I hadn't thought of that. But outside of that, I think like there's enough pressure in professional sport and professional cricket that if you're not out enjoying yourself, playing with golf with the boys or something, most people, not all, but most are sat in their room looking at footage or thinking about the game the next day, or coaches setting up extra meetings just for the sake of it because they're trying to, over prepare. So I think you can prepare way too much, and you can under prepare, of course. But I think we've been really good at the last couple of years. Like, you do what you have to do to get ready, and then outside of that, switch off. And for me anyway, the more kind of energy you preserve, I feel like I can then switch on better on the game time.
Yeah.
You're more relaxed. People jump on those flights to get on tours now. Like, they're so excited because we have a lot of fun. And I think, some people from the outside probably look, they're playing golf all the time. Of course, we still train, but I think that's a lot more healthy than locking yourself in a room for a whole tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in many ways, you guys sort of go about it the same way that Brendan McCullum's England do as well, who are at real pains to show everyone how relaxed they are
relaxed.
at all costs and times, Do you think you can out-relax England, or are they always going to be the kings?
Yeah, hard to know, isn't it?
They're very
Well, he's about to put a
relaxed.
mattress on the Lord's balcony. That's how relaxed he is. He's always he's basically horizontal every time he's in shot.
Feet are always up.
Always
Yeah,
up.
that's right.
Always
Doesn't
up.
matter what's going on.
He's looking good. He's looking. Don't get me
He's
wrong,
relaxed.
but
Yeah. Hard to know.
And it's a privilege to see them play as well.
It is
just as the
always.
way
yeah.
It's their era.
they.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So, no, you obviously want to talk about that. This is your leadership era. You've got you don't just have one book out. You got a couple of books out. You got books for kids out. You got a book that's launching next week called Tested, which I don't think is for kids. It's publishes 30 October, and you've interviewed 11 leaders and achievers. So people like Julia Gillard and Dennis Lilly. Like, why did you choose this genre of book when you could have followed in the footsteps of like a captain's diary, like Steve Waugh, no regrets, talking about dropping people and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, good call. Well, obviously I've got the two different types of books. So I've got like quite the serious tested book, and then the more easier to read children's book for the batters. Sorry, for the kids.
It's a colouring in book.
Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. I quite like reading books. I've probably read less books in the last couple of years since becoming captain and being dad. I just don't quite find as much time as I used to have. But I don't know, I always quite like those books where you kind of speak to people who have been through something and kind of gained some wisdom through it. So had came up with the idea about 2 years ago. Because again, a few people kind of said, captain's diary or autobiography, that kind of stuff, and had very little interest in that. But I kind of
Day 2, I took 4 for 31 today. Came out well. Marnus was annoying, chirping it, like that kind of stuff.
Like
you're not interested in that?
I never read those books. Exactly as you said, it's like I don't find them super interesting. But yeah, I thought, interviewing some other people would be cool. I'd be interested in doing that as a bit of a project. So yeah, started a couple of years ago and knocked it over.
And you got the kids book as well. Well, you got 2. How's that, Pat? It's called, and then there's a second book, there's a sequel called Mission Wildlife Rescue, where the plot line is we were bike racing through the bush when we came across bulldozers knocking down a section of trees where koalas live. We couldn't believe our eyes. We have lots to find out, like who is behind this disaster and what happened to the koalas. But like, was there sort of concern from the publishing perspective around how like the Australian and Morris Newman might review a book that's more pro-environment, like how have sales been, from that sector?
Yeah, no, you're right. I hadn't really thought of that, but there's one segment. Yeah, I think what do you call it, 55-year-old plus.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah, it's
demographic, no good.
Yeah, that is. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to take that. Sorry.
When you became captain, how does one become captain of the Australian team? Because I'm interested in doing it. You
can have it.
It seems easy. There's like some sort of interview process. Like I know other guys in the team wanted it as well, but like, do you bring like a PowerPoint presentation? Like, what's the process when you're applying to be captain?
Exactly that. Did a
Really?
PowerPoint?
Yeah, you get a PowerPoint.
Yeah, PowerPoint.
Did you do it solo, or did you like sort of commission a brand? Like a brand agency.
Yeah. Let me apply for it. Just give me 6 to 9 months to work on this. I did have a couple of people I spoke to just to help brainstorm and pull it
you
together.
would have had some high level people to help too.
Yeah.
No,
you don't want to say obviously, but yeah.
But yeah, no one probably that you know of. Yeah. Anyway. And when was it? It was 2021. We were in quarantining in Gold Coast there, and Tim Payne just stood down, and kind of Smithy and myself both got a tap on the shoulder saying, "I'd like us to apply, kind of formally." So pull together a presentation. You got a few days and stuff, and then present to I can't even remember. I think it was maybe a couple of selectors, high performance manager, and a couple of board members or something like that.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, like, what were you wearing? And are you like, are you in a suit? Like, was it Australian polo stuff? Like, and
good question. I think I did go Australian polo.
Polo, okay.
I definitely wouldn't have gone suit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had a suit.
And what about downstairs?
Casual.
Yeah.
Thongs and budgies or something. But they didn't ask to stand up or anything.
Yeah,
so
no,
sweet.
So what's in the PowerPoint presentation? Like what sort of markers are you hitting? What are your KPIs?
I think it was actually. I kind of thought, why are they making us go through this? But it was actually worthwhile.
Okay.
It was a bit like, if you're the captain, how would you want to kind of set up the team? Like, what environment do you want? Kind of what's your style? What are your strengths? That kind of stuff. So just a few of those bits and pieces. I think I might have spoken about, particularly the environment, like stuff that we've spoken about. I like it to be relaxed. I want to take pressure off certain areas. And I remember that time we just won the T20 World Cup, and like team was going pretty well, like test team as well. And I remember the whole narrative of that stage was like, drama heading to the Ashes. Everything's going downhill. It's going to be a long summer. And I was sitting in the camp with everyone. I was like, feeling's the opposite. So I just remember kept hammering that home. I was like, we just won the T20 World Cup. Boys are great. Like, it's a great time to be Aussie cricket team.
I know, like since like you and Torch, Ronnie, you've got such a great partnership going. You guys have won just about everything there is to win. But like just if I can take you to the World Cup final in Ahmedabad last year, and everyone's saying like, how do you beat India? Because the conversation about India was like, is this the greatest ODI team ever? Not just are they going to win the tournament? That's how strong they were going into it and how underdogs, I suppose, Australia were. But like, and then it was like, how do you beat them? I mean, maybe you just got to bat big first and put pressure on them, and then you just like, there's photos of you actually taking photos of the pitch on your phone, and then like maybe India outthought themselves or whatever, but maybe you and Ronnie just thought it differently. You don't have to win the toss and bat first in a white ball game. Like you guys sort of went about it differently, which is sort of emblematic of the partnership you guys have had all the way through. You guys have done things differently to the common thinking.
Yeah. I think you have to at times to try and be better than kind of average. India were a very good side. Felt like if we just played a boring ODI like everyone else would expect us to, or you're probably going to win less than you're going to lose. So it's funny. Like I remember the talk there is always you got to win. You got to win the toss and you got to bat in the final. Like it's so important. And I remember just thinking through all the finals that I could think of. I didn't look at any data, but I'm like, feels like every match I can remember is won by the team that bats second.
Right.
Like we did in 2015. England did. Well, it was a draw, but they won batting second in 2019. India won in 2011, batting second in ODIs. Most T20 World Cups been the same. Like we won
2015, you batted second.
Yeah. So I was just like, I don't know where this logic comes from.
Right.
And I think the whole logic is like, it's good to have runs on the board, but I also think in a high pressure situation, I quite like bowling because you make one mistake, they score a 4, but a batter, you make one mistake, you're out. So I quite like that aspect. But, I think the one thing that Ronnie and I and all the players and coaches, you try and park what's been done to one side and you just try and think from, like first principles and, there's always a little bit of voice of like, oh, we know if we stuff up this decision, it's going to get more conjecture than if we chose this player or did this.
Yes, yeah.
But the next step, which is hardest, is like, but that doesn't matter. We still got to make this call because we think it's right. So, yeah.
Well, it worked.
It did on that day, yeah. It worked out well.
It's the greatest World Cup win of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
Except for New Zealand. Women just winning this one.
Yeah, that was a big win.
Yeah. I didn't catch it myself, but I've heard about it.
He's an ambassador for Prime, so that's not. We're not.
That's right.
Yeah, thanks for reminding.
I think one of the some of the background to that whole you've got to bat first in the World Cup final thing. Just thinking about the subscribers just dropping off this show right now.
Yeah. Stop talking about it. Yeah.
Was how well India had done batting first, and it was like they were just obliterating teams out of the game. They were just playing this just incredibly dynamic, like bombastic style of cricket, and there was just a wave of like Indian fervour that whole World Cup. It seemed like a tsunami that was just unstoppable.
Bigger than cricket.
Yeah.
Yep.
And things were being geared towards the coronation, of Indian cricket, and standing in the way was like Pat Cummins, Australia, who just needed to win the toss and bat, and to stop the because it to my memory it felt like it was almost ordained that India was going to win, and their model for doing it was winning the toss batting, so they had the double-sided coin going as well. That's kind of how it felt. So if we win the toss, that's a win, and we've got to stop them doing the thing they do. And you win the toss, and you're like, rock and roll. You'll hate this, but like, do you think they tried to bluff you on the deck? They were trying to actually get you to bat first, because it was one of the greatest reads of a pitch in Australian history. I don't think we read pitches very well.
Yeah, I think that's the question. You go, they were obviously a really strong team batting first, and most of the tournament had played out that way. Particularly. I think it was Mumbai was like it was a 200 run difference almost for the teams that batted first or bowled first. So you kind of, do you value that, or do you value what you think's going to give you the best chance to play well as a team? And we played, I think we played England at the same venue, and we felt like we might have got like mid 200s. I'm not great with numbers, remembering matches, but I think we got like mid 200s, and we bowled them out, but they got 220 or something, and I thought they batted pretty averagely. Is that a word? Averagely?
Yeah, it is now.
It is. And but the longer the game went on, the dew was coming in. It was harder and harder to try and take wickets, and it just felt easier and easier to bat. So we did that toss purely for that back quarter of the game. It was like, we know those last 25 overs, it's really hard to take wickets and stop even a number 7, 8 batter. And that was pretty much it. Maybe a bit more spin during the day as well. But yeah, not try and overthink it. It was just like, genuinely, you go, when's better to bat? We think tonight's going to be better to bat than right now, so let's have a bowl.
Is there some sadness that that World Cup win?
Yeah.
No, but
Think about
that
our
World Cup
business,
win appeared to not garner the love at home that it deserved. You know, like maybe you'd be reluctant to like agree with that, but it was definitely in ticker tape parade territory, and there were there were blokes had to split up owing to different games at different places, and there's a great footage of you getting home and getting your Optus SIM, and there's a couple of people there. Yeah. Is there any sense of regret? You know, it took a long time for the team to be able to get together. You know, to like celebrate.
It is a shame. Like, it's the nature of just how hectic the schedules are nowadays. Unfortunately, because I mean, we could have done a 3-day bender in Sydney, but it's also like guys have been away for 3 months, so it is also hard to kind of be like, oh, now come to Sydney for 3 days. Like it's just everyone's so busy nowadays. It's hard. But I remember coming home, and I know there was some photos of me like at the airport, and it was like a small media scrum, and people couldn't believe that. Yeah, the team wasn't there getting a parade like India just had when they won the T20 World Cup. But for the next, pretty much that whole summer, the amount of people that would come up to me or the boys who would normally not say a thing and were just like, mate, we stayed up that whole final. That was unbelievable. Yeah. People like beeping the horns down the street.
Good.
Like it was a whole different feeling to what I've ever felt.
Yeah. Well, Mitch Marsh came home and went to the pub by himself at like 10 in the morning.
But he does that most weeks.
He left that bit out, didn't he?
He did leave that bit out.
Because you won the World Cup. Did we? Oh, yeah, we did win the World Cup.
He overheard 2 people like discussing their team of the World Cup, and they left him out, and he just turned over and said, "Oh, I'm stiff, aren't I?"
And he had his winner's medal on.
And he had his winner's medal on, drinking by himself.
Well, let's bring the audience back now. Let's talk about the last time India were out here for tests.
Yep.
I know people you wouldn't think of it like what's the best, what's the worst, but I'll ask it anyway. Is the last time India won here, is that the worst loss you've had in a series? Because what India achieved, while you think about it, is actually one of the greatest series victories of all time. Given what had happened, the players they were missing, all out for 36 in the Adelaide Test. Australia steamrolling at home, never lost to the Gabba, etc. And then they did it with a much weakened side somehow.
Yeah, that is true. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Sorry.
How did you think of it?
I actually thought the series before was worse because we got completely beaten. Whereas that series was quite tightly fought, I thought. And then they played like fantastically well to win at the Gabba.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was annoying. But I felt like the series before where we were like completely outplayed.
Yeah.
That one hurt more for me.
Okay. Because
we had excuses that time. There's no Smith, no Warner, sandpaper stuff.
Lowest ebb.
Last time, okay, like JL stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
What was it? What we got? Like, there's no excuses this time.
No excuses.
I will find some.
No Greeny.
I was going to say Greeny was bound. He was going to open the bowling and batting.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, that's right. Oh, good. Yeah. All right. Well, we all want to know who was going to open. You just confirmed that. Cheers. No, seriously, like, nobody complains about pitches better than an Australian, particularly when we go to India, right? Not you necessarily on air, but But we complain greatly about the decks, and we believe that we're entitled to decide what the truth of a wicket is. You know, like if it spins, that's actually unfair. If it's fast, that's actually fair.
That's right.
But really, what Australians pine for here is like every time we do go over there and we're all at sea against the spin, we're like, wait, when we get you back here at the Gabba at the right time, not actually in the New Year. That's the wrong time.
After Christmas, no good.
Yeah, the lights wrong, etc. Like, what are we presenting? You know, our Indian overlords this time around. Like, are we juicing them up? What are we looking at? Grass, 8 mil, 10. Like, what's the? Come in, just let us know. Like, how are we making it difficult?
Mate, I wish. If I had it my way, it would be looking like those bushes behind you. Like, unfortunately, I don't have any sway, so we'll wait and see. But like, the last couple of years, I reckon the wickets have been awesome. At
they have.
All the venues.
They've been good, except for Sydney.
Yeah, a lot of draws in Sydney.
Yeah,
they've been good for quicks, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like it's yeah. That's basically it. Yeah, but you know, it feels like, if someone's scored 100, they've battered the house down.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's taken them a few sessions or whatever it is. Whereas my first couple of years, we had some success, but geez, some of those wickets were so flat. So I don't know. I just hope, like always, there's a bit of a balance between bat and ball. And I think like some of those Indian spinning wickets as well, like, I think, say, like that last tour, like Delhi, we should have won. A couple of those games, it does bring the teams quite closely together. I know, obviously, like, some really good spinners and players that spin, but I don't think you ever hear from our players complaining about that. Like, you know, someone like a Smudge, he loves that. Like, that for him is...
And let's be clear to the audience as well. I completely agree with that. You know, the complaints about Indian decks are largely misguided. I mean, it's funny when like you literally have half the deck scarified for Jadeja and the other half not. Like that's funny.
That might be
right. Yeah. But like India has managed to build an apparatus of players who can come out to different conditions and perform, and it's incumbent upon Australia, for example, to develop players, and we do have some players who are better with spin. You know, like that's really the challenge, isn't it? Yeah.
And for us to bounce the shit out of them.
And when they come out here, we'll fucking
get it through the chest. Nothing in their half.
Is that the plan to Safraz?
And what about Jay Shah?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing in his half. It's funny because, like, again, so many, you know, like even we've done press days and stuff where everything's about the Indian summer and, like, genuinely, I haven't really thought about it too much. Like, we've got another month.
I believe you. I actually believe you.
Yeah.
It's like we'll get into camp, we'll work out who their playing 11 is, who our playing 11, and, like, we've all played enough. We'll work it out in
100%.
the week leading in. So
100%.
There's no grand plans other than this time of year. It's always like let's try and get everyone fit as possible, get them as much game time as they want. But in terms of thinking about opposition and plans, and it's like ask me 2 days out and I might have more of an idea. But I couldn't even name you who's their squad's going to be. You know, this far out.
So with Jaiswal, sort of two gullies because he's a little bit out here, isn't he?
And he's a fifth stump for colleague.
Probably.
You know, like, sorry, Bez, did you have something?
No,
like, the last test match was in Australia, you know, Shamar Joseph just bowled like the wind. I mean, like, I spoken to so many unpatriotic Australians who said that was good because I don't subscribe to that. It was disgraceful. It was a disgraceful loss and it could cost us in the World Test Championship table. No, like that was such a great test match and like it was just like his performance. I mean, unbelievable. And then like, does it break your heart a little bit when he goes to England? He's buying like 125s.
He bowled like the wind for with like a broken toe as well.
It was unbelievable.
Bowling. Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah,
I think people are going. Sorry, I cut you off, but like I think people
it's
are.
Your show.
So it's sort of my show. Just get out of the way there, Pat. But like people are going to be so pumped for this summer because it's a great series. Like, and the rivalry built up over the last sort of 30 years against India is awesome. Plus, India's got a great team. Like, it's such a good team. I know we haven't really thought about it just yet, but given the last test match was so exciting and then this summer, I think it's going to be a good summer. I think it's going to be good. And then the Ashes next year, times are good.
Right. I agree. It's funny, like even last year, because it wasn't India or an Ashes series, it was like, it's see how the summer goes, you know, might not be as big. I thought last summer was like some of the best test matches you'll see the second and third tests against Pakistan could have gone either way, just scraped over, and then the Gabba, unfortunately Shamar bowled them to victory. But it's every test summer is always great, and then throwing 5 test matches for the first time against India. I think we're sitting 1 and 2 of the table. They've won the last few times. Like, it does have all the makings of a pretty good summer.
Yeah. I know you're saying, like, I haven't really thought about it, and, like, I'll just see how I'm feeling a week out and make a couple of calls and whatever. I'll just like to sit back. But, like, you must, you're a red-blooded man. Yeah. You're a dark horse alpha. Like, you must sit back and listen to all the chat about, like, new people in the side. Like, we always wind Starkey up about this in content capture. We're like, I'm getting bored here, Starkey. You've been working on your fitness in the last couple of months. You've had a couple of weeks off. I've seen articles saying, like, Cummins might have put on 5 to 10 clicks.
Oh, he trained the house down?
I saw that as well. That was one of those articles I spat my cornflakes out. Is that right? All right. We'll see how that goes. That won't last long.
Is there a part of you sitting there going, oh, wait till Paddy C gets the cherry in hand?
Get the red cake in hand.
Yeah, the red cake.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Like, again, like, I think, you have a break and you freshen up, and then once you do start getting close to the games, I start getting excited. So, yeah, we've got some ODIs and playing for New South Wales tomorrow, but it's like when that first test starts, you just trying to place myself in the best position to be all in, and now once it gets close, you start letting yourself get a bit more excited.
And it's going to be good once all the boys jump into the Big Bash as well before the Sri Lanka tour. Everyone jumping in.
Yeah, you'll be jumping into that, I'd imagine.
Great. Circle the dates.
100%.
Straight from the 5 test series into the BBL into Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Into
especially the bowlers.
Yeah,
they'll be fresh.
That sounds good. No, because I read that's happening. Okay. So, like, I got a question for you, Paddy. Which is lucky because that's the job of this. But people have seen your name attached to, climate change and environmental causes, and sometimes it gets run through the really unfortunate, prism of culture wars and just garbage chat. But, like, you actually have quite a serious stake in the organisation Cricket for Climate, and I'm as far as I understand, they actually started with a really practical installation of solar panels on. Was it literally Howell Oval in Penrith, or was it other grounds in Penrith? That'd actually harness quite a lot of sun from my experience there.
Yeah.
Well, the way you framed it, saying that I've got quite a significant stake, makes it sound like I'm trying to.
I mean figuratively. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I know you probably have. Quite a nice portfolio. That's where we started. Figure of speech. Yeah.
Yeah, the Howell Oval. So we put on some solar panels of Howell Oval, and I paid for that first installation, and it was for a few reasons. One was, to try and lower the carbon footprint of the cricket club. 2, actually saves money. It saves close to $3,000 or $4,000 for the club each year. They then put back into female programs and junior programs.
So it literally makes money for cricket.
It makes money. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of half an eye to kind of trying to do a little bit, my thing for climate change, but also a little bit for grassroots cricket. How can we try and find a bit of a win-win? And then, also it triggers lots of great conversations. And then, we've done some more clubs now. We've helped the NCC up in Brisbane make, big battery and solar installation up there. So, a lot of my childhood, I remember baking in the sun. So it was like, chuck some solar panels on those roofs.
Yeah. Do you a serious question if it's possible, like, what would you say to, young club cricketers who in the current, political climate still may feel like climate change is is a risky talking point in the, potentially macho confines of a cricket club? I know young people are way better than we were, right, when it comes to this kind of stuff, and far more informed and way less you know, they don't feel like it's risky, but there still would be blokes there going like, oh, they don't live in a world of politics, this kind of thing, which isn't a political issue in my mind, but is politicised.
Yeah.
Like, can then lead a lot of Aussies to just think like, oh, I don't really want to touch it. But but the leader of the Australian team is like, you're leading the way with it. Like, what would you say to those people who are like, I don't know if I should be.
It's always been hot.
Yeah. No, I just don't know if I want to get involved in this.
Yeah. I think, first of all, you'd understand it. Like, I know a lot of our guys, there's topics they don't want to speak about because they don't feel well informed. Like me, there's a few topics I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about because I don't really feel like I'm that clued in on it. You know, for me, I always like to point to practical examples. So if you're just doing it for, I don't know, awareness or exposure, for me, that I've never felt super comfortable doing that. Like, I'm always want to do real life examples that can kind of demonstrate a path forward for other people that might be trying to look for options of how they can help out. So that's why, you know, things like helping, you know, junior cricket clubs decarbonise, like, there's so much about that I love because it helps out the club. You're showing tangible examples. So I think most of the time you'll see, if I'm ever talking about things, I like to talk about those specific examples as opposed to, you know, marching for any cause.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally. Is there like a call? I genuinely don't know the answer to this. Is there like a call to action for clubs or club cricketers around cricket for climate? Like, is it something they can do to find out more? Because if you're talking about, you know, there being a demonstrable like economic return on doing this that they can reinvest back into their club, you know, then I'm sure people are going to look at it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, reach out. We've got a few different programs. Like, another thing we do is exactly to your topic, is trying to you know, give some of those skills and education to people that want to find out more, and, you know, empower some players if they want to speak up on it. You know, here's maybe ways that will build up your confidence. If you do, if you don't, no stress. If you want to find out, here's some info. So, yeah, 100% reach out. That, like, again, we're trying to show win-wins. You know, the reason why I did it in the cricket club was because I did it at my own house, and you know, I loved it. It was saving money off the power bill. It was also, you know, we had a blackout in the street, and I had no idea. Everyone else in this, well, few houses had solar, but everyone else was like, "Oh, what about the blackouts?" I didn't even know, and I was got a little pep in my, you know, in my step.
So you can alpha your neighbours,
exactly.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah, and not invite them in to watch the TV.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So you can feel better than your neighbours and make money. That's it.
Whatever your
not
reason
just right. It's good business.
Exactly.
I got to say also, like, when we talked to Nathan Lyon a few weeks ago, actually quite a few of the players, they regularly mention.
It was quite alarming.
They regularly they like to talk about how many sponsors you have.
Yeah, that's
a new thing at the moment, right? It's like I'm surprised. What was it? It's like, I'm surprised Pat can run into bowl because his pockets are so heavy. He needs a belt.
Yes,
right? Like
they say you can hear coins jingling when you're running into bowl.
Yep. Yeah, it wouldn't be coins. Joking.
Bitcoins, maybe.
Yeah,
but it is like there's no obligation for this, by the way. But, like, you know, it must have been good for you to learn that, you know, we're brand aligned on Smith Optics as well.
100%.
We actually have a couple here.
Yeah.
So
now, what's
good?
What do you wear on the field? You wear Vert.
I use Vert. Monument sometimes.
Yeah. You got a couple of the boys involved as well.
There you go. There's
Vert.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got probably half the boys, maybe. Hoff style pair just at training, off me just before.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
But obviously not Smith himself, unfortunately. That's probably the obvious one.
That's the obvious one, yeah.
That is the obvious. He'd be a big get. But yeah, no, I think all the bowlers, we got Starkey, we got all the coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trav Heads, got the big Bobcats, I think they are, or Wildcats.
TGC, obviously. You said you must
TGC.
have put that out there. Make sure the boys get some.
We wear these most podcasts, to be honest.
Yeah.
Unironically.
Yeah.
Hoff's great, isn't he? He's great to talk to, Hoff.
He's the best.
Because he doesn't do a lot of media.
No.
Yeah.
You must have really enjoyed it during the World Cup when he was talking about knocking England out by losing to Scotland or whatever it was. He just sort of agree with the Germans.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet the boys enjoyed that.
Thanks, Hoff. We'll pick up the pieces. Yeah. No worries, mate.
Eyewear's important to you,
Yeah.
though, right? Because you were batting with Alex Carey in Christchurch and apparently didn't have eyes to see that he was on 98.
That's actual fact.
Well, how is that
How?
legit? How have you not known he's on
genuinely,
98 to
because-
win the game?
That's an issue.
Yeah, no, that's also fair. I don't remember the exact details, but I think the screen is normally a scoreboard. But then once we started getting closer, it just, instead of having the scores on there, it just became like 10 runs to go. Or,
You're alleging that no one in the ground knew that Alex Carey was
Oh,
on
no,
98.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I reckon everyone knew other than me. But I wasn't, I thought he was like in his 80s or something like that. I genuinely had no idea he was that close.
Good chance Kez knew.
Very good chance.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I was thinking back afterwards, and I reckon there was a stage once or twice where he's like, mate, don't worry about it. Let's just get these runs. Like, don't worry about me. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say. But after I was like, oh, that's fine. Okay. Sorry, Kez. I honestly had no idea. Like, yeah.
Yeah, mate, all good. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
People don't believe me. No clue.
That's good.
You reckon that might have been his way of maybe trying to let you know that
Yeah.
he was nearing as well? Like, is that how
He probably wanted
operates
you
as
to
well?
say,
Yeah.
no, mate, we'll just get close and then we'll let you take over.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
If you knew, would it have changed anything?
Don't think so.
It was there to hit.
It was it. Yeah.
Bit of width.
Bit of width.
People you do seem to be at the other end of with critical partnerships with the bat. Now, it's good to hear because so listening to you on the Imperfects from a few months ago, great episode. I highly commend it to people. But there was one real cricket moment in amid a deeper, better conversation where you referred to yourself as a maggot stabber with a bat. I was like, what the fuck is that? This is
What's a maggot stabber?
Yeah.
So you've not come across maggot stabbing?
Man, this is why we've got to
Okay.
stay close to the game.
Yeah.
But you describe yourself as a batsman, as a maggot stabber. It's a sort of harsh off the tongue.
It is.
to
Yeah.
hear.
So Matt Wade used to call me this.
Okay. Yeah,
That's why it's called.
Weighty. Yeah.
Wadey. But it's essentially, if you can imagine someone's got a stick and they're trying to stab
I can
maggots,
imagine it. Yeah.
that's essentially how
maggots.
he described my batting, where you're not, instead
I
of
like
trying
to
to hit the
stab
ball, you look
maggots.
like you just,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, it's not kind.
Yeah. And yet, you were there at the other end with Kez. You were there with Maxi in the World Cup. And
Did
and
most of
then
the
of
work.
course
Yeah.
of course Gaz at Edgbaston, which was I have to say
up there.
this is indulgent, but
Yeah.
we were in the press box and they were fucking giving it large all innings like the English
They were
press
like
is
appealing for LBWs.
they were appealing. They were bashing the desk.
Yeah.
It was it was a hot atmosphere in there. And then when you got mate, it was so awesome. And we had the most aggressive, intimate, quiet hug with the winning runs was right in front of us. That
when
looked like
Carey Brook
that looked
threw it
like a
into the
hot
fence, yeah.
scene. That was very, very cool.
That was my favourite of cricket moments. I
Yeah.
didn't even play.
Yeah.
So thanks.
No worries. That's all good. Yeah, no, that goes down as World Cup, and then that's not far behind.
Oh, dude, that was so
That was
good.
awesome.
That was so good.
Yeah.
And beautiful moment with your dad in the sheds afterwards as well. And people know the background to that as well, but also kind of rude because we were sniffing around the sheds and not really getting a start.
We were looking for a beer.
Yeah.
We were looking for an invite.
Yeah. Well, we're just hanging around the side.
Yeah. He goes,
yeah.
oh, try a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Yeah, all good boys.
No,
Couple of maggots.
And then later on,
It was
actually,
busy,
my-
that change room. We had the ground staff. We had some of the bum. No. Anyone got in that day.
Yeah. Yeah, later on,
Anybody who was
and then
anyone.
I
Yeah,
invited, invited my own father up there. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess the bar was quite high to get into the Australian men's sheds.
I wanted the hug.
Yeah,
that's
that's
all
right.
I'm saying.
We day one of that test match. I didn't say this until after the test match because I probably would have got nailed for it. But so I think we went what have they declared on close to 400.
Yeah.
Shower straight in the sheds, straight to Bruce Springsteen. Took Dad to Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, that's right.
He had
Yeah.
the greatest
Cool.
week of his
Oh,
life.
mate.
Villa Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And he played like he would have got nailed because like he plays for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Springsteen, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like he goes hard in the paint.
He does. We missed the first few songs. But it's funny when I think back to that test match, it's always like that last moment with, Gaz and winning, and then it's Bruce Springsteen. It's like the two things, nothing else that can.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
We walked into the ground on day one there, and there was a guy outside singing, have you ever seen Kawaja score a run?
Yeah.
And he scored 160 or whatever he
Yeah,
scored.
140 that day. He was standing in a phone box.
Yeah.
And he was from the Barmy Army.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just it was good. I mean, we're just wanking over
We're,
Australian
yeah,
victories
but
But-
just a couple of cricketers just talking shop,
now. Yeah, that's right. That's fantastic, Pat. Thanks so much for giving us your time, mate.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
No, it really is. It's I tell you what, it's also like it's very it's really cool for our audience. He goes, I think who's supported us for a really long time, that we're at a place where Pat can call you in a day and go, look, I just need to get a couple of things off my chest around selections and Warner, so can you accommodate me? So
I've got training, but I'll leave early for you guys.
Yep.
That's what happened.
And thanks for not losing my number over the years as well. Still picking up the phone. It's great.
Mate, all the best for the summer. I know you haven't turned your attention to it yet. You'll have a look.
It's India this year.
Yeah, India's coming out.
Yeah, 5 tests. Yeah, should be good.
They're strong.
Yeah.
I've heard.
But mate, thank you so much. So it's really special for us to have you in.
Anytime. Cheers, boys. Not anytime, sorry.
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Oh, great.